RuthPositiveGuru.com. As always, glad to have you along for this journey into the world of spirituality, metaphysics, and meditation. Not too long ago, I um I had just something come up in my life. It just kind of threw my life off a little bit. Just had me uh, off center. And during that time, it was tougher to meditate as much as I normally would meditate, tougher to uh, be into my forms of expression, whether it be blogging or writing or just the things that I love. It was like sort of taking over my thoughts, so to speak. I'm still working and so forth, but it was just I noticed I was off a little bit. And one day I was I decided it was just a little short period, just a few days, but this one day I decided I was in my mind kind of talking to God and the universe and being open to how to handle this throwing me off my center. And of course, usually the message is, well, you meditate, but my meditations, they just weren't nearly the same. So what I found myself, I popped on a television show. I was up late and I popped in and I turned on the Roku, the screening platform, and I saw an advertisement for this show that I always loved, the show Being Erica, and I said, I think I'm gonna just pop on this episode. And to my surprise, this episode that I never saw before. And Being Erica is like this. It's almost like a magical realm type of show where she's this normal everyday person, but then she meets this psychologist who uh, takes her into her past situations to live it out again and to get past any regrets she may have had. I think they call it regret therapy or something. I don't know. But whatever the case was, I'm watching. I'm saying, man, this is an episode I never saw before. This is quite interesting. And so I'm watching, and at one point, she's got the same thing going on. She's just got this thing that's this where she's sort of stuck in her world. And then, and the way the television show works is she can just be walking through, or anyone that's going through this particular type of therapy can just be walking through a door. They could be walking out of a situation where they just had a discussion with someone and they walk to the next room, but then they'll be sometimes catapulted into this other realm where their therapist or their guru or meditation person, whatever you want to call it, is there to talk to them about what's going on in their world and then throw them into uh, another space-time continuum where maybe this situation happened in the past. Well, she found herself walking through the door, and so does this other guy who's in the same type of therapy, Adam, walking through the door, and then next thing you know, boom, they're on this beach, and they both look and they can't believe it. They're like, "What are we doing here?" And then like, "What are you doing here?" Because they're not used to seeing each other. They know each other in one another's session. They're like, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "Well, you all are stuck on this island, and your task is going to be to get to the other side of the island. And once you have made it to the other side of the island, then you can go back to your normal life." And they said, "Oh, okay, whatever." They didn't like the idea, but they said, "Okay." And then they went on and they kept trying to get to the other side of the island. And every time they ended right back where those doors were, where they first came onto the island. It seemed like no matter what they did, they just kept ending up in the same spot and could not figure out how to make it to the other side of the island. Then at one point they realized they had to take this more unconventional route and travel through this different terrain in order to get to the other side of the island. And when they finally got to the other side of the island, after going through some nights in the in the forest or a night in the forest or whatever, and but they finally made it to the other side. And as I'm watching, I'm thinking like, man, this is interesting because I kind of feel like I want to get back to the rest of my life and not have this thing going around in my head that maybe I need to solve. And I also realize that I might have a change in thinking in order to make it across to the other side. And in that moment, I began to look at my situation and just ask, hey, what is it that attracted the situation? I didn't even decide to meditate at that time. I just said, hey, what is it that's brought this about? What is it about me that has brought this into my life? What is it about me that I need to change? In what ways do I need to grow? And as I asked that question, information came immediately. As information came, I was hearing the own vibration, just like I'd be meditating or something, telling me that, yeah, this is the information that you need. This is what you need to do. And this is what you should have done. This is how you should have reacted. This is what you need to do. This is where you need to go. This is how you need to be. And I said, wow, this is interesting. So then I opened up my book, 30 Days of Enlightenment and Miracles, and just to open to a page to see what it's talking about. And I think open up to a page that says, be a man or crawl. And in many ways, often it has one meaning to me, but it starts off saying that life is about the lesson. And how we have these lessons. A lot of times the lesson is the very thing that you want to do in life and the way that you want to be in life, but maybe you aren't living in that particular way. And I said, okay, well, I gotta pay attention to this. And I opened up to another page. It seemed like the whole thing was just talking to me as to things I need to do in my own world, a way in which I need to be in my own world. Well, this morning I was thinking about the whole thing, and I'm like, man, pretty much just about on the other side. I was like, so okay, when I get to the other side, I'll go back to my normal life. Well, that's great. I'll be going back to uh, I'll be going back to meditating more often, with ease, without anything clouding my mind and slowing me down. In addition to that, I'll be going back to my expression. I'll be going back to maybe working on some music. I'll be going back to uh, some things that I want to do with Positive Guru. I'll be getting back into getting back into my writing, all these different things. And I like the idea, but I was like, man, I just can't go back in the same way. Uh, how am I supposed to go back into this? And just to go back into my world, it's almost like I've been on vacation, but not when I wanted to be on. Like, how do I go back into my normal world? Do I go back and just be the same person? Well, yes, I'm going to be the same person. But what really hit me, and it just came in a flash, was when I go back, I'm going to have to really be diligent about what I call the final lesson. And when I said that to myself, all of a sudden I heard the inner sound, the own vibration. My teacher, Mr. Ambrister, he used to say that own vibration, or that vibration that people depict when they talk about meditating on om, but you can hear it. They call it the sound of the spheres, the sound of the universe. And in that moment while hearing it, I knew, I was like, that's what it is. Now the final lesson, I don't know if that's what that's what I've always called it, the final lesson. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a point in which Arjuna, the great chariot rider, is talking with Krishna, the way in which God came to him, and actually, I guess Krishna is the chariot rider riding Arjuna, the warrior, and Arjuna is asking Krishna, who's the way in which God came to, or talking to Krishna. And Krishna's having this conversation with Arjuna. And at one point he says, now you must lay down all duties. You must lay down all dharmas. That's the way he put it. You must lay down all dharmas and follow me and only me. Well, laying down all dharmas, that's laying down all duties. the different duties in life. You should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist, would call it the thou shalt system. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not do this. That doesn't mean that, oh, I'm going to just go run amok. But saying that before that, you must worship me and only me. You must worship God and only God. You must worship the universe, only the universe. You must worship the path and only the path. You must be totally about this thing before anything. And lay down all the duties. All those things don't even matter if you're doing that. There'll be times in which that goes out the window. And in the Bible, they may say, well, God is a jealous God. It means your focus is supposed to always be on God. Focus is always on the universe. Now, when you're doing this is when you are able to be free. This is when you have the moksha. This is when you have the liberation. When you have that freedom, then you're able to do whatever it is you want to do, because now you are in tune with the universe. Whatever you want to do is whatever God and the universe wants you to do. It may be something that may not make sense, but now you're so connected. The universe is working through you, giving you inspirations, telling you to go in this direction, do this and do that. And it's an interesting thing. I called my teacher one day. I've spoken about this, and I said, Mr. Brister, I got this going on, and if I do this, it's going to affect this person this way. If I do that, it's going to affect that person that way. I'm concerned. I don't know what to do, and I was plagued. I was worried, and when I called him, he said, "Well, Sonny, you hear these sounds?" Talking about that own vibration. Like, in other words, are you connected? Are you meditating often? Are you thinking about the universe often? Are you, when you walk into situations, are you saying, man, I wonder what made this happen? Are you looking for the continuity and the beauty within it all? And if you are, then you're beginning to hear this own vibration. You're hearing this own vibration. You are connected. You're connected with God. And he said, you hear this? You hear these sounds? So yeah, Mr. Brister, I hear the sound right now. He said, what are you talking to me for? Just do whatever you want to do. I said, well, but Mr. Brister, you don't get it. I got this going on. I got that going on. If I do, no matter what I do, it seems like it's going to be an issue. He said, Sonny, I got to eat right now. I was like, well, Mr. Brister, talk to you later. But I later realized he was trying to tell me, when you are connected, you don't have to worry. When I had the big thing going on, one of the messages I got was, it's going to be easy. It's going to be easy. The whole thing is it's going to be easy. That looks like it's difficult, that it looks like there's peril, that looks like there's danger. If you step up your meditations, if you step up your focus on the universe, the whole thing is going to be easy. It's just going to magically fall together. Every time I practice that, the problems just disappear miraculously. Same thing happened again. But that's stepping up the meditation. That's stepping up the thoughts on the higher things, stepping up the higher conversations. That's following me and only me. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. You keep your mind on the higher. You move in your direction of the higher. All these things will be added. And when you cannot move in that direction, then that's when you got to get to the other side of the island. That's when you got to say, hey, why did this happen, God? Tell me, talk to me. Help me out. I'm going to be open. Give it to me. I don't care how it comes. And do whatever it is you're told to do till you get to the other side. When you get to the other side, it's back to following God and only God. And keeping your mind there. And you will be surprised. Just one thing after another thing after another thing that looked like it shouldn't work out will be magically happening. Craig Kimbrough, Positive Guru. Until next time, peace and blessings to you all. Has anybody had any thoughts?